and welcome to Fast Horses Today for Sunday. Today is February 1st, so start of February here, and we're going to cover some races over at Santa Anita. So, just like yesterday, where it looked like Santa Anita had some nice inflated pools because of cancellations throughout the country, kind of expecting the same. I think, there will be some cancellations this week, or this Sunday as well, because of the weather in various parts of the United States. So maybe folks will be devoting their betting dollars to Santa Anita. Also, we've got our first Sunday in a long, long time without football. So no football to contend with horse racing. So we might have some really nice betting opportunities here at Santa Anita. So I'm going to cover the last several races. They have a first post time of 12:30 Pacific there, and it's 2:30 here in the Central Time Zone. I'm going to skip over the first couple races, and I'm going to move over to the fourth race. I'm going to play a late pick 5 here at Santa Anita in this Sunday card. The fourth race does start out, the late pick 5 has an approximate post time about 2:05 Pacific, so that's 4:05 here in the Central Time Zone. We're going to start out with a 6-furlong dirt sprint, and these are maiden $20,000 claimers, state breds, and these are 3-year-olds here, California breds. Now they're starting us out here with a race, pretty light in talent. I mean, if you're a 3-year-old and you're getting put in for $20,000, the connections are really just kind of giving up on these horses, just looking for a win and probably looking to hope the horse gets claimed for 20. So, not going to talk a whole lot about this race. Just going to try to get this pick 5 started. Going to put the one horse who his Joker went wild for Brian Corner. Brian Corner puts on Caesar Belmont on this horse. Now, Caesar Belmont, has been riding a little bit here in Southern California. It's been doing okay. He puts Belmont on this horse. Belmont rode this horse last time. This horse, going to simply put this horse in because of the drop. This horse had run in 3 starts at maiden special weights. Kind of ran some even races. The last race was probably the least effective of the 3, so maybe that's why the drop here. But I think, just based on who this field is, what these horses have done or not done, I think Joker went wild with the drop in class. Should be really, much faster here. At 3-2, certainly no secret. We'll put the 1 in there. Joker went wild. Going to also put the 2 horse, who is Lake Smokin'. Lake Smokin' comes out of the George Parabon barn. Parabon legs up Tiago Pereira. Now, I know these guys have certainly paired up over the years to do some good work. This horse has the benefit of 1 start over at Santa Anita a couple weeks back. This is a maiden $50,000 claiming race. So, the drop to 20, I'm not sure how substantial that is, but it certainly is a drop. This horse did come second that day. Caesar Belmont rode the horse here, so I don't know, I never really get into jockey switches because if you don't know the story, you don't know the story, and you're just guessing. But anyway, Tiago Pereira takes the call here. Certainly not a bad thing. Pereira's been riding really well, and we know Pereira over the years certainly could win races. So going to put Lake Smokin' here off that last run there. Maybe the drop to 20 certainly can make this horse faster. Parabon, I know the barn was kind of cold for a while. He won a nice race last weekend, so maybe that'll heat things up. So we'll put the 1 and the 2 to get this pick 5 started in the 4th race. So let's move over to the 5th race of the day. The 5th race of the day is a maiden special weight. These are fillies, and these are 3-year-olds and open company. So maybe we'll see some nice horses here, maybe some future nice performers. They're going 6.5 on the flat grass course, so that's 6.5 on the flat grass. Definitely some nice horses here in this race. I got 3 horses I'm going to put in. I think one of these, should get this advanced. Now, I know that, yesterday in our pick 5, in the last race of the day, there were a ton of scratches in that race. And I know those scratches actually affected this race because several horses were scratched out of that race. They're put in here today, here into this 5th race. So I'm going to put in the 3 horse with Surfin' USA. Surfin' USA comes out of the Leonard Powell barn. Leonard Powell puts Mirko DeMuro on the horse. Now, this horse, we've definitely talked about this horse before. This horse is owned by the estate of the late Jeffrey Siegel. And Jeffrey Siegel was a very well-known handicapper and personality there in Los Angeles and did a lot of work at the racetracks. And he passed away last fall. So, still wishing their family the best there. Now, this horse, does belong to the estate of Jeffrey Siegel. And I know this horse has had some good runs over the turf, over the Santa Anita turf. I thought last time this horse ran, he had kind of a rough trip. It was a big field. He just kind of got bounced around a whole lot. I think it really affected his chance to win. I think here at 8-1, this horse will certainly have a much better opportunity here. The switch to Demuro could be a good thing. Demuro's certainly been riding very well and does well on these grass sprints. So I think Surfing USA is going to be very live here. That's the 3 horse at 8-1. Going to put the 5 horse, who is not with a fox. Not with a fox comes in for Phil D'Amato. D'Amato's got a couple entries here in this race. This horse, very well bred by Not This Time out of a Dynaformer mare. Now that's, screams to me turf. I mean, Not This Time could certainly run, and his offspring run on anything. I mean, they could probably go swimming and win if they want to. This sire's just been unbelievable. I don't know if I've seen anything like this in a while. His horses just win left and right. They win at different distances, different surfaces, all different levels. So not with a fox is a first-time starter here. Edwin Maldonado takes the call. Maldonado's certainly, good jock for a first starter. He can get the horse out sharp. I don't know if they're looking to get to the lead with this horse. I guess we'll see what tactics they employ. Horse is a 9-2, this 5 horse. So, based on the works, I think, could be a factor here, that being the 5 horse, not with a fox. And then finally, going to put the 8 horse, who is Silky Savai. Silky Savai also from the Phil D'Amato barn. Now, this is your program favorite, probably will be your betting favorite at 5-2. Ismail Jaramillo takes the call. This horse was scheduled to run yesterday, was at with short odds there, but they scratched in favor of this race. Looks like a good sign to me. This horse should be ready to go. So we'll put the 8 horse, Silky Savai. So we've got the 3, 5, and 8 there in the 5th race. All right, let's move on to the 6th race of the day. 6th race is a 5.5 furlong dirt sprint, and this is a starter allowance here. These are horses who have run for $6,250 or less. So this is like your true starter allowance, how they've usually been carded, in horse racing. So this is horses who have run for $6,250 or less in 25-26. Your bottom rung, they're giving connections a chance to maybe cash a purse and not lose their horse on a claim. So, definitely a competitive bunch here, I think. I've got 3 horses I'm going to put in. I feel like one of these 3 will definitely get it done here for us. I'm going to put the 5, who is Morello. Morello comes in for Andrew Harris. Andrew Harris claimed this horse back in October. He claimed from a low percentage trainer, so I think the improvement, will happen with the Andrew Harris barn. He doesn't run too many, but certainly very effective trainer. He had this horse for one start. They ran a route there at Los Alamitos with a little bit better company. The horse just kind of ran an even race. I don't fault him for that. I think that this race can set up nicely for him. Edwin Maldonado on the horse, 3-1. We're going to put the 5 horse, Morello. Going to put the 7 horse, who is the Big Chizola, for Steve Knapp. Kazushi Kimura takes the call. Kimura's been on this horse before, has won with this horse. Now, I know Steve Knapp has liked this horse. I can recall a couple times they interviewed him in pre-race interviews there on FanDuel TV, and it sounds like Knapp likes this horse. This horse is certainly a hard knocker, has run some nice races in and around this level, has done well at Santa Anita as well, so certainly likes that Santa Anita dirt course. Kimura, as I mentioned, has ridden this horse well, has won with this horse. 5-2, no secret. Big Chizolo should be tough in this type of race. And I'm going to put the 8 horse, was Carol's Comic. Carol's Comic comes in for the Val Brinkerhoff barn. Now, Val Brinkerhoff, I think is a very capable trainer. You might look at his record and go, he doesn't win all that much. He wins his share at times. He doesn't have a big barn either. But Carol's Comic is certainly a hard-knocking horse. Has done most of his work, good work, at Santa Anita. So, we're going to see if Tyler Bays can really, just kind of, I'm not going to say get off the schneid. He does have one win, but Bays has been, a little bit cold. But a horse like Carol's Comic, Bays has ridden this horse, has won with this horse. This is a big gray horse. It's kind of the thing where I think the outside post could be nice, maybe a stalking trip and finishing up. It's a low-level race. Carol's Comic certainly has beaten this kind of level before. He's beaten a little bit better, too. So we're going to give Tyler Bays a chance here at 5-1 with the 8 horse, Carol's Comic. So we've got the 5, 7, and 8 in the 6th race. We're going to move over to the 7th race of the day. 7th race of the day is another 5.5 furlong dirt sprint. These are $20,000 claimers. These are fillies, 3 years old only. So, challenging race. When they're putting 3-year-olds in for $20,000, it's kind of, it's like that other race I mentioned. It's give up time. They're looking to win a race at a low level. If you want to claim the horse, you're probably doing the barn a favor. But anyway, I've got 3 horses here. I feel like one of these 3 should get it done here in this 7th race. We're going to put the 4 horse, who was Final Table Lady, for George Parabon. I mentioned George Parabon. I definitely like him as a trainer. I think, we'll see if his barn comes to life here. Final Table Ladies run with some nice horses and, certainly fit with these. Ayuso Takes the Call. Billy Anton Georgie was riding this horse before. Anton Georgie's a good rider, but I think the switch to Ayuso is certainly an improvement. Ayuso really can ride and puts on some nice displays at times. 3-1 on this horse on Final Table Lady. I think she'll be live here. Going to put the 5, who's your favorite, probably going to be your betting favorite at 3-2 in the program out of the Jeff Mullins barn. Darlin Sugary, Juan Hernandez. This horse has had 3 starts in her short career. Certainly has been competitive. In her last 2. Has been a big betting choice in her last 2 as well. Broke her maiden at the 32,000 level. They put her in a starter allowance at Del Mar in her last race back in late November. She was a big favorite then. She didn't deliver by coming second, but, maybe a little break here. She's not running with much, so I could see why Darlin Sugary is a favorite, so we'll put her in there. And then finally going to put the 8 horse, who was Tiger Lady. Tiger Lady for the Andy Mathis barn, Kazushi Kimura on the horse. This horse broke her maiden first time out, in a low level in 20,000, but she's running for 20,000 here. I don't know what the Mathis barn they thought they saw in this horse after that win. They ended up putting this horse in a lot tougher races. They put her in an allowance race. She kind of ran, sort of even race there. Then they put her in 2 stakes races. She didn't run terribly in those stakes races, even though she was clearly overmatched. But I think, the company she's kept, she's run with Liberation twice. And Liberation's a nice cowbred. She ended up running with C. Drew in the stakes race at Santa Anita. That would be in the Cal Cup on Cal Cup Day. So definitely a class drop. So certainly can make this horse faster. Outside post, Kimura definitely been riding well, putting good rides on. So Tiger Lady, the 8 horse, certainly live. So we've got the 4, 5, and the 8 there in the 7th race. All right, let's move over to the last race of the day. Last race of the day is the 8th race. This is a 6 furlong dirt sprint, and these are California bred allowance horses. This is a first level allowance race here. Fillies and mares, there's also an option to claim for 20,000. So what that does is, you've got your horses that fit the allowance conditions are in here, and then you've got horses, who might have, blown through this category, or maybe won it a couple times. They're putting the horse in for 20, so that qualifies them in this race. So you got to do kind of a balancing act here. Sometimes these these old timers, these experienced horses, take on these younger horses with less wins, and they beat them. So I certainly think there's a couple horses that fit that bill. I got 3 horses here I'm going to put in to try to finish off this pick 5. I'm going to put the 2 horse, who is Timekeeper's Charm. Timekeeper's Charm out of the Steve Knapp barn. This is a cowbred by Not This Time, so you don't see all those too often. So, these folks, the owners here, the breeders, they went out to Kentucky, bred their mare to Not This Time. Mixed results. I mean, she's run some nice races, but she is 1 for 9. So, I think that there's a lot of improvement here. I'm sure that they were expecting more with the kind of money they paid for that breeding. 6-1 here. We're going to see Timekeeper's Charm shows speed in her races. She doesn't, always finish up strongly. But we're going to see maybe Tiago Pereira can work out a nice trip and get it done here. We'll see if she lives up to her breeding at 6-1. We'll put the Timekeeper's Charm in here. Going to put the 8 horse. The 8 horse is Stay in Line for Ron Ellis. Ron Ellis legs up Wilfred Arantes. Now this horse fills what I had mentioned, a horse who had won several times. Ellis is putting this horse in for 20. He's trying to cash an allowance purse here in the California rank. So, this girl can certainly get it done. She's got 5 wins out of 16 starts, including 3 wins out of 5 at Santa Anita. So she's done some nice work there. She has won at this level. Ellis lost this horse for 25 back last summer, ended up claiming the horse back for 20, putting this horse in. This horse has run with some better horses, in her lifetime. At 6-1, I think Stay in Line certainly is dangerous here and can get it done and, maybe kind of take a bite out of some of these younger horses that she's running with. We see it happen in these type of races. So we'll put the 8 Stay in Line. And then finally going to put the 12 horse. 12 horse is Miss Practical out of the Carla Gaines barn. Hector Barrios on the horse here. This horse, I'm going to guess, will be your favorite. She's 3-1 in the program. she's had a nice record. She has 4 starts in her career, 1 win, 2 seconds. Has run with some nice horses and run some nice races with nice speed figures. She showed a really nice race on opening day. That coming off a layoff. She came second that day to Wish They All Could Be. And Wish They All Could Be is a multiple race winner. She kind of fits with that profile that I mentioned. A Calbred who has won several times. They put her in for the claim, and she'll beat the allowance field. So Miss Practical ran a really nice race with Wish They All Can Be. It looked like, maybe she needed the race coming off that layoff. She should be a lot more tight here. At 3-1, Miss Practical certainly, factors in this race. So we'll put her in there as well. So we've got the 2, 8, and 12. All right, now let's recap the day and recap the bets. Okay, so for Sunday, February 1st, we're going to be playing over at Santa Anita today. We're going to be playing the late pick 5. So the late pick 5 starts in the 4th race. We're going to start that out with the 1, 2, with the 3, 5, 8, with the 5, 7, 8, with the 4, 5, 8, with the 2, 8, and 12. Now today, that pick 5 ticket costs $81. I'm taking a shot with multiple horses in each race. I think it seems worth it. Maybe we'll get a nice payoff. If you see fit, you want to play that ticket as is, I wish you the best of luck. If you want to add to the ticket, subtract from the ticket. Do what's right for you. Or if you want to play the pick 3s or maybe the pick 4, that late pick 3 within it, those all seem to be good bets. Whatever you decide to do, I wish you the best of luck. Let's wish the folks over at Santa Anita a very happy and safe day of racing. Let's wish ourselves some good trips. And I really thank you for watching Fast Horses Today, listening to the picks. Thank you to everybody who subscribed recently, everyone who subscribed from day one. I appreciate everybody. We've had some nice increased viewership, so thank you so much. You can always like, dislike, make comments. I encourage you to make comments. Write what you have to say, good or bad. I promise to respond to everything. So let's close out this week over at Santa Anita, the Great Race Place, with a nice win. Good luck today, and we'll see you back next week for more coverage on Fast Horses Today. Thank you.